Hey y'all, my name is Kayla and welcome to my cozy chaotic corner of the internet. So in today's video, we are going to be asking and hopefully answering the question of, can you judge a book by its cover? This is a series where I like to pick a book based solely on its cover, whether I think the cover is absolutely stunning, gorgeous, magical, mystical, chef's kiss, or I think it's questionable in taste. In this series, I will literally do that, pick a book whether I like it or I don't like it, and I do not read the synopsis. I do my darndest not to read any blurbs that may be on the back, but sometimes, there might be a blurb on the cover itself, and that's a little bit harder to ignore than not looking at the back or not looking at the inside sleeve. I will just note that. So in today's video, if you couldn't already tell, we are going to be delving into Cinderella is Dead by Kalynn Bayron. I'm not gonna tell you guys quite yet if I like or dislike this cover, but what I want you to do is let me know in the comments down below, do you like this cover or not? And do you think I like this cover or not? So do you like it? Do I like it? We'll find out a little later on. So with all of that noted and all of that out of the way, let's hop into the vloggy bits where I read the book, and then we'll chat later on about, did I like this cover? And did I like the contents? Y'all, I don't know why, but this is my new favorite filming spot. I feel like we get close enough. There's I don't know. Do we like this filming spot? Don't get me wrong, I love my bookcases. Love them so much. But sometimes you just need a simpler background, right? I mean, let's just ignore the garbage can if you can see that behind me. But other than that, it's great. We are discussing my thoughts and opinions on Cinderella is Dead, and I'm not gonna lie, y'all, this is actually my second time talking about my thoughts and opinions on this book, because I literally was filming a huge breakdown. I was pretty much explaining chapter by chapter what happened in this book, and I was almost to the very end of the book. I think I had 4 more chapters to explain. I realized that my camera had stopped recording probably halfway through the book. So that was devastating, and I decided, just based on that incident alone, that I would kind of restructure how I wanted to talk about this book. If you do prefer, a chapter by chapter breakdown of books, let me know in the comments down below. I will gladly do those in the future for Can You Judge a Book by Its Cover videos, but I think for this video, just for my own sanity, we're just gonna talk kind of general thoughts and opinions about the book. Now let's talk about the synopsis. It's 200 years since Cinderella found her prince, but the fairy tale is over. Sophia knows the story though, off by heart, because every girl has to recite it daily, from when she's tiny until the night she's sent to the royal ball for choosing. And every girl knows that she has only one chance, for the lives of those not chosen by a man at the ball are forfeit. But Sophia doesn't want to be chosen. She doesn't want to go to the ball at all. Not when she's afraid the girl she loves might be chosen too. Pushed beyond breaking by a society that denies everything she is, Sophia sets out on her journey that will remake her world into one where she gets to choose. This, first and foremost, let's talk about the cover, because that's the whole point of this series. Can you judge a book based off its cover? I'm going to tell you guys what I think about this particular cover that I'm holding. And then I'll tell you also my thoughts and opinions on the cover that technically I should be holding currently. So this is the UK edition of Cinderella is Dead. And this cover, absolutely stunning. 9 times out of 10, I don't technically love when there's portraits or even just people in general, whether it's a cartoon, a portrait, an illustration, a picture. I don't typically love when people are on covers, but this artwork style is an artwork style that honestly, I have loved for such a long time. I don't know, there's something like, it's like oh, I don't know how to explain it. It's like realistic but still illustrated. I just find that this illustration is gorgeous and stunning and beautiful. You have these beautiful hues of blue in here, and then just like the perfect gold foiling of Cinderella is Dead. Honestly, y'all, you can't get better than that. Love, 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 love the UK edition of this cover. I also love how, first glance from far away, it's a very gorgeous, beautiful cover. It's once you get up close and you notice all of the scratches on her face and the blood and the torn up dress and like the dirt everywhere, that's when you're like, oh, what the heck is going on? Whereas the reason I bought the UK version is because I really hate the US version. I don't know, there's just, I don't know. I think it's like the coloring, it's very dark. I don't like the purples with the blues. It just, there's something to me personally. There's something unappealing about this cover. Yeah, I don't know. There's something about the US cover I do not like. Okay, back to the book. I'm gonna start with what I rated it on Storygraph. I gave it a 3-star rating. A 3-star for me means it was a really good book. I enjoyed it. I had a good time, but was it a standout? No, it just means I had a good time with the book. So that is why I gave Cinderella is Dead a 3-star. To me, it was a really fun, enjoyable book, but is this gonna be a book I go and pick up again? Probably not. Will I go and pick it up again just to look at this cover? Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, but to the story. We are in this world where all the girls pretty much have to get married by the age of 18. If they don't get married by the age of 18, they become a spinster, and spinsters are pretty much forfeited, aka they're sent to the castle dungeons. What happens to them? We don't know. We just know they're no longer walking amongst the village. On the opposite side of the coin is the men of the town, and the men pretty much get to do whatever the heck they want. Like, whatever they want. They don't want to go to a ball to get married. They don't have to. They can just live life, doing life. Anyways, so in this society, it is very heterosexual. You pretty much have, like, you can't, 2 women cannot be together, 2 men cannot be together. We start the book off with Sophia, who's our main character. So Sophia is in love with Aaron, and apparently Aaron is in love with Sophia. I don't see it throughout the entire story. At no point was I convinced that Aaron loves Sophia back. I was just like, I don't see it. She's kind of an asshole. She keeps using the excuse of like she has to do right by her parents. But even when she does get married and her husband is super abusive, oh my God, like, Jesus Christ. Even after that, she's still very much like, no, this is just what you gotta do. This is how you live your life. But Sophia comes back after a while and she tells Aaron, she's like, things are gonna change. Like, we're going to change things and I want you to help me to change things. And she's like, no, just leave me alone. And I'm like, I don't believe that Aaron was ever really, honestly, that interested in Sophia. Like, I don't believe it. I'm not buying it. That's like not a believable relationship dynamic. Me personally, if you've read this book and you think otherwise, let me know in the comments down below. But for me, I was like, who are we trying to fool that these 2 are in love? I think Sophia might be infatuated with Aaron, but Aaron, I honestly think she's just messing with Sophia's head. I don't know what was going on there. It was very weird. But then they also have a friend named Liv. Liv comes from a poorer family. They aren't as wealthy, so they aren't able to buy her the extravagant ball gowns and stuff for the balls. This is actually her final year of going to a ball because she'll be 18, aka spinster, aka get forfeit if she doesn't find a match at this ball. The way Sophia described Liv's outfit, I'm like, it seems very simple but still gorgeous. And I think it's gorgeous because Liv herself was absolutely stunning and beautiful. Because Liv goes to the ball and she is wearing just this simple I would explain it almost like a nightgown, like a white nightgown, but one of those really frilly, beautiful nightgowns, you know? That's what she was wearing, and she had like this little crown of flowers and just very like cute and beautiful, but not obviously extravagant ball apparel. And oh my God, I hated this part so much because all the women are like in the ball area. And when all the men show up, the king kind of is like, oh, thank you guys, all of my honored guests, yada, yada, yada. I appreciate you all coming, especially in your beautiful, extravagant gowns, except for you. And he literally calls out Liv, berates her, pretty much trashes her for wearing something so simple to his extravagant ball. And then he like gets up close to her and he's like, oh, but I guess you are very beautiful, aren't you? And then he has the guards take her away. Unfortunately, Liv is found at the riverside, no longer with us. However, the condition in which she was found is very startling and jarring because her once brown hair is stark white. She looks like she's aged decades because her skin looks so wrinkly and her face is so sunken that she just doesn't look like Liv. And the only way you could really tell it was Liv is because she was wearing the simple gown from the night before and still had her flower crown on. So that's very upsetting. Before the ball happens, I'm going out of order timeline here. If you guys couldn't tell, I'm just kind of talking about each character as we meet them. Before the ball happens, we are introduced to Luke, and Luke is taking Sophia to the seamstress. Now, Sophia is very, apprehensive pretty much about all men. She has experienced in her life that men are just, the biggest a-holes on the face of the planet. And to be quite frank, the only man she really respects and looks up to and sees kindness in is her father. Other than that, she really just doesn't like men at any capacity. But Luke seems to be different. And Luke is trying to talk to her, get to know her a little bit. And she's being very flippant with him because, again, she just doesn't really like men. And he's trying to elude the fact that he's different. And I think a chapter or two before that, we are with Sophia and her mother. And her mother says how she knows that Sophia is different because Sophia likes women and would prefer to be with a woman. The second Luke says that he's different, I knew that he meant he was gay. But for some reason, it didn't click in Sophia's brain. I think she's just so jaded by Ben that she didn't realize that he was trying to explain that he is gay and has really no interest in her at any capacity aside from being a friend. To wrap up Luke's tale for now is he finally goes to a ball. This is his first time going to a ball. That's kind of one of the things that Sophia was poking at, is like, we have to go to a ball every single year until we're chosen. But you don't have to go to a ball. You've never been to a ball. So when Sophia and her friends show up to the ball and she sees Luke come in with the rest of the men, she's like, what are you doing here? And this is where Luke pretty much tells her, he's like, why don't we just be together? I know that you don't like me the way you're supposed to, and I don't like you the way that I'm supposed to, but at least if we're together, like you don't have to worry about anything because you're married to me. And Sophia is like, you know what? I like the way your head works, Luke. Unfortunately, there's this a-hole, Eduardo, I think his name's Eduardo, and he comes up as Luke and Sophia are like standing in line to say like, hey, we're together now, because you have to like make it official. He comes up to them and he's all like, what are you doing? I was going to propose to Sophia. She's supposed to be my woman. And Sophia's like, you never even like have talked to me until this moment. And he's like, I don't care. I want to be with you. And unfortunately, Eduardo comes from a higher status in society than Luke does. So he pretty much can pull out the trump card and be like, I'm taking this woman. Shoo shoo, peasant. And this is where things just start to go awry. Luke is, for some reason, taken away by the guards of the castle. And Eduardo is pretty much like, you're gonna be mine, Sophia. And Sophia's like, oh, fuck no. So she escapes the ball, and she is officially a runner, and she is officially being chased by the king and the king's men. She is running through the forest and stumbles upon Cinderella's tomb, and this is where she meets Cynthia. And Cynthia? Is that her name? Cecilia? I can't remember. There's so many names. But this is where she meets a young woman who is actually the descendant of the evil stepsister of Cinderella, Gabriella. And y'all, I just realized I'm pretty much doing a breakdown of this entire book. So I'm not gonna go too further into it, but the story of Cinderella ends up being this. The women of the land of Cinderella have pretty much been told their entire lives that Cinderella was pretty much the story we all know, right? Where she had the evil stepsisters, the wicked stepmother, and she was able to escape from that life by marrying Prince Charming. So that's the story pretty much that every young girl is told. Like, if you work hard enough, if you pray hard enough, if you do the right rituals, then the fairy godmother will come and save you and bring you a gorgeous, beautiful ball gown so that you can be chosen at the ball by your Prince Charming. True story is that Cinderella had a wonderful, beautiful, loving relationship with her stepmother and stepsisters. And this is because they grew ever closer after her father was killed by Prince Charming. So the plan was, the night of the ball, Cinderella was going to lure the prince in and then kill him. Unfortunately, the fairy godmother isn't that great in reality. She is in cahoots with Prince Charming, and Prince Charming is actually like a big old douche hole. We find out that the town that he takes control of was in a famine, and he saved them from the famine and like made sure that they were a prosperous country, except for the fact that he was working with the fairy godmother, and the fairy godmother is the reason that the town was in a famine and starving, and there was no crops and the weather was horrible, because the prince has asked her to make the conditions such so that when he showed up, he could save them from conditions that he had someone else create. We love that. He does meet Cinderella before the ball. He sees her and she's like, oh my gosh, she's absolutely stunning. That's the type of woman who could change me. And the fairy godmother's like, well, what if she can change him? What if she can make him a better man? So the fairy godmother had like good intentions, but also like not good intentions. Like, she honestly should have just let Cinderella kill him, but she opts to give Cinderella a love potion. So for like pretty much a month, Cinderella is absolutely head over heels for the prince, but the potion does wear off, and eventually Cinderella realizes that she has lost her opportunity to kill the prince. And unfortunately, once the prince realizes that Cinderella is not actually head over heels in love with him, he just locks her away to die. So sad. So sad. I'm not going to tell you how the book ends. I feel like I've told you all so much and such enough, but read the book, find out how it ends. And there was one, I'm not going to tell you what it was because it will kind of give things away, but just lock into your brain Liv's condition. Think on it, mull on that, ruminate on that. Because there was one point, I don't know what it was, but there was like one conversation that the fairy godmother was having with Sophia, and something in my brain just clicked. And I was like, I know what happened to Liv. And I was right. It was a really good book. I had a good time. Again, I would not have picked up the US edition of Cinderella is Dead. And I'm really glad that I picked up the UK edition. It was a fun book. It was an enjoyable book. I had a great time with it. I think if you like easy reads, this is a young adult book. So if you just want like a quick, easy, fun adventure type read, there's no romance. I mean, there is actually romance in it. There's like kissing. That's literally about it. There's some kissing that happens. Nothing outside of that. So it is definitely more about Sophia, championing. It's pretty much about Sophia trying to change the course of history. And it was such a fun book. I had such a good time with it. It is very fast paced. So if you like, a little extensive world building, a little extensive plot building, you're not going to find that in this book. This book is like bing, bang, boom, bam, boom, bam, bing. We're done. We're at the end. So if you want just like a quick, fun, adventure, fantastical story, I would highly recommend picking up Cinderella is Dead. I did order this off Blackwell's for the UK version. It's free international shipping. I will note, as always, with Blackwell's, it does take a couple weeks to get to you, but every book I've ever ordered off of Blackwell's always arrives in pristine condition. So as always, do the contents match the cover? I would say in the case of the UK edition, they do. They do indeed. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day, and I will see ya in the next one.